Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Marcus Nebro. I work over at tutor.com. Thanks again for joining us for today's session. Just so you know, today we're going to be going over the SAT and the ACTs and the different ways you can use tutor.com to prepare for those tests. So in order to actually access the program, tutor.com, which is provided by the state library, the South Carolina State Library, and the Discus program, the best way for you to do that is by heading to the Discus site, that's scdiscus.org, and then you can go through A to Z resources, view online resources, whichever one you prefer. The easiest way to do it right now is if you scroll down, you'll see a little news article saying free real-time tutoring now available 24/7. So essentially, we've just recently expanded our tutoring hours so that it is fully 24/7. You can get help whenever and wherever it is that you need. So if you click here, just follow the links, you'll be brought over to our platform. Once you're in the platform, you'll see something that looks very similar to this. Now, as you can see in the top navigation bar, only connect with a tutor now is highlighted. Everything else is grayed out, and that's because you're accessing as a guest. When you access as a guest, you only have the ability to connect with a tutor. If you want anything else, including the SAT and ACT essentials, you do need to create an account, which is incredibly easy. All you do is create an account, click that in the top right-hand corner, enter in all the information, your date of birth, which is very important because we are COPA compliant. And then boom, you're all set. Now I already have an account, so I can just sign in. And thankfully, Google or Firefox remembers all of my information. And boom, as you can see, everything is now bolded, which means I now have access to it. The first thing that I'm going to be going through is the SAT and ACT Essentials portal. In order to access that, you just go to the top navigation bar, Other Tools, and Prep for the SAT and ACT. Now, this gives you a little bit of a heads up as to what is available within your program. You'll have full-length practice tests, a detailed score report, as well as video lessons and practice drills to kind of hammer in those different concepts you're going to need. But I want to kind of show you the actual platform itself. So all you have to do is click Prep for the SAT now. That will bring you over to our SAT Essentials portal, which, as you can see, if you look at the target scores, I've already set some target scores. I wanted an 800 in the math, an 800 in the verbal, and a total of 1600 on my test. As you can see, I am falling very behind on that. So this is just a nice little way for you to track kind of where you are in your progress. And once you're actually ready to take these tests, you just go to practice tests. And as you'll see, there are a ton of actual full-length practice tests for you to go through. I've already taken all of these, and the reason I did that is so that you can see on our tracker, you can see how you're doing over time, which test you took, what score you got, and you can even, click on a specific test and it will bring up a score report. Now, this is a deep dive into the entire test and how you did during it. So as you can see, for the math, I only scored a 320. For the verbal, I got a 320 for a total of 640. If I want to scroll down, I can further see which questions I got correct and incorrect. If I wanted to review an answer because maybe I didn't understand why I got that correct, if you click that, it will actually bring up a little page showing you the entire explanation for that specific question. Now, when you want to take a test, all you have to do is hit start, and then you'll be prompted with how you want to take the test. So, for example, I can download a PDF of the actual exam, which let me actually show that to you in just a moment. What that will do is it will download a version of the exam that looks like this, where you'll have access to all of the passages, questions, images that you're going to need for the test. You can open this and have it in another window, take the test on your own. If you wanted to, we do have online proctors that kind of time you. So let's say I'm just getting started and I don't want to really worry about the actual timing of the test. I can just launch the bubble sheet and go right in. If I'm getting closer and closer to the date and I want to get more comfortable with that time constraint, I can choose the online proctor, which is just a strict one-to-one with the test. You have the same amount of time, or I can expand that time if I wanted. But let's go ahead and launch that bubble sheet. So as you can see, again, if you do download that PDF, you'll have access to the tests and you'll be able to kind of review against the bubble sheet that you have. and you just fill in everything. I'm not going to actually do this because let's be real, I know I would not do well on this test. So we can just continue through each section. And again, it's kind of separated by topic. So you have math without a calculator, math with a calculator to kind of better prepare you for those tests. We even have an option for the essay, which I am definitely not doing right now. And then you can score your test. Now, I know I'm going to be doing abysmal. I got a 400. That is not ideal at all. But again, I have access to that entire score report where I can see all the different answers and questions. As I scroll down, though, there is kind of a what to do next portion. And this is where our system is kind of looking at the questions that you got correct and the questions that you got wrong and telling you what specific topics you need to focus on. So, for example, this is a bad one, but so even though I took this test and I didn't do anything, it says I want to focus on explicit meanings and vocabulary and context. Well, that means nothing to me right now. But if I were to click this, once it loads, it'll actually pop up video lessons and practice drills for you to take. So I can watch a full on video. I'm going to mute this, but it's of a teacher that is going through and explaining what that topic is. And then again, you'll also have access, once this loads, to that practice drill that you can take. And it's basically just a little mini practice quiz for you to take on that concept. And again, you can kind of go through the verbal, the math, and the essay part. And then again, if you just go to kind of your overall view, you can see how you're doing. So you know if you're doing better or if you're falling behind. And as you can see, I'm definitely falling behind in my practice. If you don't want as structured of an approach and you just kind of want to prepare for some of the concepts in general that are going to be coming up on that test, you can actually just click coursework and decide what topic you want. So let's say I'm working on math. I can view all of these different resources. And if you click this, again, it will have a video lesson and a practice drill, which I can open up. And like I just mentioned, it's a practice test that you can just take. It's 10 questions, and it will just kind of get you used to the questions that are going to be asked on the test. And again, we have hundreds of different videos and practice drills available for you. Now, while we're in the SAT and ACT Essentials portal, I did want to highlight, while it's not exactly related to the test itself, if you're taking these tests, chances are you're going to be applying to college. Under the resources, we actually have a bunch of resources for folks that are going to be applying for college. So general tips and tricks, kind of getting an idea of what to expect on the day of your test. If you are like struggling to find what college is right for you, we do have some information to help you narrow things down. If you're questioning how FAFSA works, we link out to different government sites, as well as just give some general advice on how to approach that. So there's a lot within here for anybody who is preparing for college applications. There's a lot that people can find helpful here. Now, that is essentially it for the SAT and ACT Essentials portal. As you can see, that was just the SAT portion. The ACT is going to be exactly the same, except the practice drills and the tests are all going to be ACT. But if you prepare for one, you'll understand how to prepare for the other using this feature. The next thing that I wanted to mention is if you're taking the SAT practice test, and let's say you're struggling. So let me open up one of these tests again. Or actually, hold up, better yet, let me bring over this. Let's say I am struggling on question number 4. What reaction does Akira most fear from Shii? What I can do is actually bring this in, download it, copy and paste it, and put it in here. Now, connecting with a live tutor, you can choose that you want SAT test prep help. You can choose what topic it is, and then you can enter in your question that you're struggling with. And you can, again, you separate that question out, attach it as a file so that the tutor has access to it, and you can then work inside our practice classroom. Whether or not you need the whiteboard, or if you're just wanting to talk back and forth with the tutor, you'll be brought in here and able to work with them that way. So really taking these practice tests, it's not just stuck in this portal. You can take that elsewhere and bring it into your actual working with a tutor. So that is something great to keep in mind. And again, we have that for the SAT, PSAT, and the ACT. So you can, go through all of those and see what topics are available and what you want to get help with a live tutor. The last thing that I did want to mention is our SkillsCenter resource library. So if you go down to the Connect with a Tutor Now page and scroll all the way down, you'll see View Study Resources, Test Prep Resources, and Career Resources. Now, what you're going to want to do is click Test Prep Resources because we're looking for the SAT and ACT stuff. You choose standardized test preparation, college entrance exams, and then you can choose from SAT or ACT. And there's also general tips and tricks. So if I were to kind of just want to get prepared for taking these kind of exams in the first place, I can go to general tips and tricks, and it will provide me with a bunch of different Princeton review resources or other resources. And I can view all the different videos that might be underneath this portion. If I'm working for the SAT in general, though, you can just change it over to subtopic SAT, and you'll have websites, videos, sample tests and worksheets, flashcards, all of which are related to the SAT test. And a lot of them, as you can see, Study Stack, the Princeton Review, College Board. A lot of these are, really official resources that you can trust and kind of get a lot of help from. So again, those are the three main ways that you can get help for the SAT and ACTs through tutor.com. And just as a refresher, you can connect with a live tutor, which is now available 24/7. And, you just type in your question, choose the actual topic that you need help in, and then you'll be connected with a tutor in just about a minute or so. Our more structured approach is with the SAT and ACT Essentials, which again, you just go to other tabs, prep for the SAT and ACT, and then click one of these buttons for whichever test it is that you want to take. And then again, that brings you over here where you have access to all of those video lessons, practice drills, tests themselves, and our score report, which will tell you what you're struggling on and what you need to focus on. And then lastly, on the Connect with a Tutor Now page, if you scroll all the way down, we do have test prep resources. And this kind of expands just beyond the SAT and ACT. If you're taking any other kind of standardized test, there's a very good chance that we have some resources here for you. So definitely play around with those three different options. Again, if you do have any questions or if you need any more help in the follow-up email that will be going out after this, you can always respond to that and just let me know. Otherwise, again, thank you so much for joining us today. I hope you found some of the information that we went over helpful. And if get started, start playing around with the different resources at hand, and good luck with your tests. Thanks so much.